Hey everyone, it's me back with a new hairstyle. I've dyed my hair so many times that it just had to be cut. I couldn't brush it anymore. When you have thick curly hair and you dye it, like for me, I bleached it, and at first I did highlights. I liked that. Then I did full platinum blonde. I loved that. I loved it a lot, but it was expensive to keep up. You know, bleaching it would be like $100-$200. You of course do it yourself, which is what I started to do to keep it up. And it'd be like $10-$20 a month. It'd be a lot cheaper than going to the salon, you know. And then I wouldn't have to tone it if it was just bleach blonde, like white blonde, icy blonde. I like that. Then I tried like an orangey red called Cajun Spice because I just couldn't keep up the roots anymore. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna let the roots grow out. So when the brown roots come out, it wouldn't look as bad, I thought, but it still looked pretty bad because I have such dark brown hair. When it started to grow out, it just looked, the blonde hair I actually really liked, because when the roots would start to grow out, it wouldn't look horrible, but when it was bright red and it started to fade like pumpkin orange, it looked like I was like insane. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna dye it brown. And then after that last time dyeing it brown, my hair was so like, it just was matted. It hurt, like it would hurt my scalp, like trying to brush it and stuff. So I was just like, I'm just gonna cut it. So like I just did it myself at home. I just wanted something easier to take care of and keep what was like super healthy still. And then like I just wanted it to be easier for winter. I just got my septic pumped a few hours ago, so I'm really grateful for that. Now I won't have to worry about that over winter time. The only thing left on my list to do is to figure out how to fix the fireplace. The ferrets would go in there. I don't know if they chewed on anything, any type of wires or anything, but for some reason it's not coming on now. And there was like a specific way you had to turn it on. You had to like get this little flame on first. I can't remember how my dad told me to do it. And it's like, it's like I tried to mess with it a little bit, but I'm also kind of scared like I might blow it up or something. So I'm like, probably shouldn't touch it. Let someone who knows what they're doing touch it. So yeah, that's I'm gonna try to save up some money for that, to try to figure out what needs fixed on that. The water heater, something called the alloyed rod, needs to be fixed on it because it's like making the water like smell bad. Like it's just like one thing after another I have to fix. Oh my god, guys, I haven't even told you, I broke my fridge. I'm not gonna even show you it because it's so cringy. I went to go put something in my fridge, and this fridge has just been falling apart. I know it's on its last leg because it was bad when I got here, but the freezer handle fell off, and I tried to put it back on. It just wouldn't stay on. And then I was like, okay, well, I can just open it from the side or whatever. And then I put something in the bottom part of the refrigerator, and the glass shelves in there's like 3 little shelves. One of them just like shattered and just went everywhere in the kitchen, and I was just like frozen there barefooted, like no. I got the vacuum cleaner, and I was like vacuuming everything up. Then the vacuum belt like broke. And I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have vacuumed up all that glass. That wasn't smart. And I just think I've been sick on and off from the weather change. Like, the allergies, I start getting them, you know, the change of the season, I start to get it. And I've been coughing up like mucus or whatever. And then I had this tooth worked on, put a crown on it. That was extremely painful because they put a temporary cap on there, and they couldn't get it off, and he was yanking on my tooth, and it felt like he was gonna rip my actual tooth out. I think he put too much glue on it. He just didn't want to admit it, but then he put the concrete tooth on, and this tooth feels a lot better. It's not as high, so it's not hurting my jaw and stuff. It's more shaped for my mouth or whatever. But I mean, I'm gonna keep up on that. It's still hurting really bad. I used to never be sensitive to temperature stuff, or like mouthwash and stuff didn't hurt, but whenever that back tooth got worked on yesterday, it's been hurting a lot. With that temporary tooth, I wasn't able to bite down. It felt really tender, like I had like a bad tooth. But once he put this new tooth on, it wasn't as sensitive, so I don't know. What else can I talk about? So the lawnmower belt broke. That's the last thing I talked about in a vlog. I ended up buying the wrong belt. There's like 2 belts to the lawnmower, and I remember my dad having this little booklet for the lawnmower, but where he put it at, I don't know. And so I just been trying to figure it out. And so I went to the farm store, and I was like, okay. And I took a picture of the like thing on the lawnmower, and he's like, yeah, this is the one you need. And so I was like, okay. And it was like the patio belt or deck belt, one of those 2. And then it wasn't the one I needed because it was like way longer than the other one's shorter or something. And I needed the shorter one. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I just spent like $30 on this one. And it's like, I wanted to take it back. I kept thinking, I'm just going to take it back. And then, you know, the other belt was $10 more or whatever, but whatever. But I was like, as soon as I do that, I know the other belt's going to break. So I'm like, just keep the freaking belt at this point. It's like $30, just keep the belt in case something happens. In case something happens where we can't get a hold of it or whatever, you know, just keep it. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the legal case because I've been so... stressed out is not the word. I'm not going to get into it too much just because it starts to trigger panic attacks, okay? And, you know, I talk about how I struggle with, like, really bad depression. I struggle with social interaction with people. I don't know. It's just like a deep-seated wound in my subconscious from... just feeling like I don't matter or I'm not worth anything. And it's stuff from childhood, like things that when you're developing your brain, like you start to believe things about yourself based on how you're treated in your environment, right? Or whatever. I'm not gonna make it like some kind of excuse thing or reason why. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because one, I'm struggling with a lot of health issues. Not only that, I've been sick for a lot of my life. Like, ever since I mean, really, as far as I can remember, after the bike accident, I've always just had struggles after then. Like, and I mean, you can count it back. So, I don't know. Like, I don't want to try to use it as an excuse because it's not, but it's just trying to connect to where my life like transitioned, right? When you break both your arms, you know, one arm in 2 places, you know, one arm in the other place, and I was lucky, you know, they're, you know, down low or whatever, but and one was higher up to my elbow or whatever, but the scar across my left leg or whatever, that one, you know, I remember when I broke my arms, I remember the immense pain from breaking my arms, okay? It was almost unbearable, okay? It was heart-racingly bad. But I also felt my leg burn really bad. And I didn't know at the time what had happened. But I remember being in surgery, coming out of anesthesia, and then I had casts on my arms, okay? And they needed me awake to sew up my leg for whatever reason. I remember looking down into my leg and seeing everything, okay? Like the veins, like everything. And they were like injecting stuff in there, trying to clean it. And it was like a ripped open wound, okay, with my flesh just like flopping over. I mean, you could see everything in there. And after I like stood up in pain, I leaned back and I remember holding onto a nurse's hand, and she just kept saying, "What can I do for you? What can I do for you?" Like just talking me through it. And I was like, just ask me questions. And she's like, "What's your favorite color?" And I'm like, "Blue." And then I would ask her questions like, it was just like, it's like I almost want to cry remembering it, and I start to get emotional because it was a lot. It put me through a lot of stress. And then on top of it, I don't know why I'm talking about this, and see, maybe it's to kind of try to figure out why I am the way I am, or why I'm kind of like antisocial, or I don't know. I can get along with people, but also like I demand a certain level of respect when you talk to me. When you like, you know, blatantly disrespect me, I don't know, like I just, sometimes I can't handle that. Like sometimes, like I just been through so much, just, I don't know. It's like also when you grow up as a bigger person, people treat you different, okay? Society treats you different. You're supposed to, I mean, you're like an eyesore to the community, or you're like unhealthy looking, or you're got an eating problem, or a mental problem, or hormonal problem. Like there's a problem with you, okay, right out the bat, okay? And I don't know. And see, I think back on when I had back surgery and I was in the hospital when I was here with my dad, taking care of my dad, and he had this girlfriend at the time, and I did not like his girlfriend at all. I don't think she liked me, to be really honest. I think she smiled in my face by my dad. I think she stood by my dad and smiled in my face and just didn't like me in general. My dad didn't come to see me the whole time in the hospital, but when I came back, I went into the shower and I found her shampoo, like a female shampoo in there, okay? And I knew she was coming over to see my dad or whatever. But whenever I confronted my dad about it, he got really upset, okay? Because this person would treat my dad really, really bad too, and he knew that. Like, he would try to call, she would never answer. She only wanted to talk to him when it was convenient for her. It just kind of hurt me that he didn't come to see me in the hospital that whole time too, but he like had her over here, whatever. It was fine, like I understand, like, you know, whatever, live your life, but hiding it from me. And she would do these things to like try to piss me off, okay? Like overstep boundaries with me. Like she would come over here with my dad and try to force me to like her and to want to be like a mom figure to me. And I was like, right off the bat, not okay with that. Right off the bat, I knew like she was like, you know, we weren't in the same mental range as each other, because she had very strong opinions and beliefs on the world, and I had very different strong beliefs and opinions about the world, okay? My dad liked her because she was in the military or whatever, and the creepy thing is she looks a lot like me, and I don't know. But the thing that really pisses me off about this person is she was dating my dad, didn't come see him when he was sick in the hospital, wasn't there at all when I was there, wasn't there for his last days, didn't come to see him before he was cremated, didn't like come to check on me, like, and she's from the same post, okay, same VFW post as my dad, 6883, okay. She had these two other members from the VFW, two of her goons or whatever they are, driving by, watching me, or she's friends with one of the neighbors, whatever it is. one of the friends came over here, okay, and she said she was gonna help me with my lawnmower belt. And I was like, okay. That was before I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to get this whole thing fixed myself because it's too convoluted with all this shit, okay? So, for whatever reason, my dad's friend came out here to help me, that's what she said. The first thing she said when she came out is she came up and slapped the basketball hoop that I had out there and said, oh, that's a nice one. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, anyway, the lawnmower's in here. And she just made a couple other comments about, and then she looked at me, she's like, wow, I bet that was worth a pretty penny or something like that. And she's like, and she looked at me, she's like, well, you know. And I was like, you know what? Like, what are you talking about? And then that's when I'm like, so the only person she talks to is my dad's girlfriend, whose name starts with a K, the internet meme K name, okay? Literally, first time I met her, my dad invited her over here. She got blasted drunk. Every friend of my dad's does, okay? And then started saying, oh, I needed to lose weight and blah, blah, blah. I needed to go walking with her and all this shit. And I was like, who are you? Like, you're not even an established friend. Whenever you're like telling me I'm fat, like right in front of my dad, and my dad would look at me and he'd put his head down and he would feel so embarrassed. Like, he was like, and then he just stopped inviting her over when I was here taking care of him because it was so awkward, because she would make it so uncomfortable for me. And he would tell her, you know what, no, that's not right. You shouldn't say that. There was a couple times he was like, no, you shouldn't say that to her. Like, that's wrong. And she would get mad and stomp off or whatever and want me to apologize, which I'm not going to, okay? Well, anyway, this girl, which was my dad's girlfriend, got her goons or whatever. And she's like, the last thing I remember before my dad's friend left here to try to help me with my lawnmower build, she's like, I saw you were keeping up on it, on cutting your grass until recently. And I was like, how would you know that? My property is completely enclosed around trees, okay? How would you know that? Unless there's one or two options, okay? You know my neighbors, and my neighbors are spying on me, because that's the only people that could actually see my grass is my neighbors. It's the only people, okay, that can logistically see it. Even when you drive down the road, you wouldn't even be able to see where I'm at, okay? So that was the only logical explanation. So I was like, oh, my dad's girlfriend's so bitter and so angry and so, for whatever reason, taking it out on me, trying to cope with my dad passing away, even though she acted like she didn't give a fuck. And most of the time, my dad and me would talk about it, and he would say all she gave a fuck about was money. She's a hoe, she's this, she's that, she's a drunk, she's this, she's that. You know, and she wants to talk about me and all the shit I spent on my money. Why are you people counting all the money I spend? You need to, like, look after how much money you got. And stop spying on me and using other people as goons to spy on me because you got nothing better to do. Like, because you're bitter and upset for whatever reason. I really believe she was trying to wiggle her way in here between me and my dad to get my dad mad at me. She would try to start arguments between me and my dad. And the reality is, you know, he knew towards the end, like, she was, you know, just a hoe. Okay, whatever. But the thing was, like, I let my dad have hoes or whatever, because my dad's got to live his life before, you know, whatever. And, you know, I kind of knew he was sick or whatever, so he needed to just live his life. So I was just letting him have his, whatever she was. But we came to an understanding that I didn't like her. I didn't want her around me. She made me really uncomfortable. She said really horrible things, and my dad knew that. That's why my dad just stopped talking to her towards the end, because she was just so blatantly just rude, just mean, and just didn't respect me as his daughter, didn't respect me as a person, didn't see me valued. conversation. Like she would try to force my dad to come out to talk to her at the patio. I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to her. Like, I don't like her. Like, everything she was doing and saying and forcing and pushing, I just didn't like. And it's like, nothing against her. She can go live her life and meet new friends, but like, I really believe she was trying to get something from my dad. And I know she probably got a lot from my dad at the time. But the thing is, her having her friends who my dad was loyal to, even up to his last days coming out of ICU, when I begged him not to go up with pneumonia to help, the quartermaster up there. He could have, there was not even a heater up there for him, okay, in that cold ass room in the back, okay. I partly blame the post for his death because there was no reason for him to do that. 2 members carried him back home. They knew he was sick, okay, and they still just let him do it, okay. They let him just let himself go, like, made him feel so obligated to have to, I don't know. I don't understand the post. And see, that's the thing with the VFW. It's like, I respect my dad because he's a veteran, but when my dad was a veteran for years and years and years, and I grew up as a little kid at this place, it's a bar, okay? I grew up in a bar, okay? I slept in the bar chairs, okay? Anyone who knew me in my childhood could tell you, okay? But the thing was, that's when I started to hate the VFW, because not only that, my grandpa died up there. He had a massive heart attack and stroke, fell on the floor right at the end of the bar and died in there. I think that's why my dad kept going, is because that's what he wanted. Is, I don't know, in some kind of sick way, he felt guilty for his dad dying there, and I don't know. But when I've been not only a member, but a part of it, veterans community as a daughter of a veteran, and participated on Buddy Poppies, canned food drives, dinners, cooking, 50-50 tickets, cashier, cleaning the floors, like, all that stuff didn't matter, okay? The members up there came over here to start shit with me, okay, and gossip and talk about crap just because they're bored, and then send their goons over here to try to bully me or whatever. And the thing is, I don't really have any respect for the VFW anymore. I've lost all respect. I really lost all respect for its members because they treated me so bad. They came over here and tried to mean girl me and try to, like, bully me. And for what? Like, for whatever they think of me, because they don't like me, okay? And they're members of this post. And if that's how the post members approve of how they treat me, then I don't really have no use for that organization or the people in it, because obviously they don't respect the members, the family of the members, and how they treat them. They send them over here to, like, gossip and bully them and, like, try to make them cry, and, like, even though they're going through grief and loss, trying to paint some kind of horror villain arc about somebody because they're mad and upset. I don't know, like, see, that's the thing. Like, I used to respect the people up there, okay? Like, I knew people up there. All my life I've known them. I know their families. I know their friends. I've babysitted their kids. I cooked, cleaned for them, And to have one of its own members just come here and just, like, say just some cryptic things to me, like, that's so obvious that it's just a bunch of mean girls sitting in a room talking shit about somebody, to try to make them feel some type of way. It doesn't really make sense to me. To someone who's experiencing loss and grief, it seems really cold-hearted and evil and nasty. And I don't have no use for those type of people, especially right now. I'm going through a lot, okay? I've lost a lot of people in my life, family, friends, and losing my dad, it was really, really hard. And I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to be around people because I'm emotionally sensitive right now about everything. Okay, I'm just upset about every little thing. Okay, it could be something. And my dad, you know, when my dad left, I was extremely scared. Okay, because one, I didn't know everything was gonna go down the way it was gonna go. I didn't know what the plan was. I didn't know. I just knew there was a plan, but I didn't know what it was. Okay. When it came to the house and the property and all of that, but I don't know what's gonna happen with that. In the end, God's gonna decide. You know, I may, you know, have to split it up legally. You know, maybe like the back part of the property I might have to sell off. Honestly, you know, my lawyer keeps asking me how much to sell it, and I just, no matter how much, I keep saying priceless, because I just don't want to leave here. Okay, like, I'm sickly, I'm tired, I don't have it in me to move again. I feel like I'm honoring my ancestors by, you know, keeping the graves clean and the grass cut and whatever, and, you know, trying to keep up with the chores in the house and just trying to just honor it the best I can. You know, I sold off one of my grandpa's carports for some money to pay off some bills and get my septic pumped. Now I won't have to worry about that. That was a huge relief. I don't know what else I can talk to you guys about. Because, see, when it comes to the legal stuff, I'm eventually going to be going to court. Okay, it's going to eventually go into the papers. It's going to be a big thing. Okay, it's going to be like a huge deal or whatever. But, and see, everyone keeps telling me like my family members are just extremely greedy, and that's what greed does to people, is they take things even though they know they shouldn't or whatever. And I don't know anymore. I tell my lawyer, like, I just don't know. Like, I'm just following what my dad told me to do and what my dad said. And, you know, maybe my dad wasn't right on everything, or maybe he was. I don't know. Or maybe legally it doesn't matter what everybody wanted. It's legally got to go another way. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to say, I don't want to sell this place. I don't want to give up the graves. Where would I go? What would, you know, my family graves out here, everyone's out here. And that's what's even more mind-blowing to me and makes me so angry and seething with rage, is that my aunt and uncle could be suing me, and they're okay with just selling off the family graves. And I'm not okay with that. And I kind of feel like that says something in a big way. Like, even if someone offered me $150,000, like, I still wouldn't take it. Because, like, it's not worth it. To me, this place is worth way more. It's worth more than anyone would, you know, buy, because where would I go? You know, this is what my dad wanted. He asked me to spread his ashes out here. You know, everyone's ashes are out here. My grandma, my grandpa, my uncle, my dad, the family pets, everybody's stuff is out here, okay? And that's like asking a person to go to a graveyard and to sell someone's plot and gravestone. To me, that's like going up to someone, like someone's wife or kid, or dad or uncle or grandma or grandpa, and saying, see this grave here? I'm going to dig it up and I'm going to throw a chunk of bills your way, and you're going to be okay with it because that's law, and you're going to have to just be okay with it because we're going to strong arm our way and just take your shit. Like, and that's why I'm coming to this emotional conclusion of I don't know what to do anymore, because I'm almost kind of at that point, like, I don't want to give it up at any cost. Like, how far am I going to have to go? I'm almost willing to go as far as it takes to keep it. I'm willing to go as far as it takes to keep it, okay? No matter what that means, okay? So I don't know how to explain it to someone who, see, most people think, oh, you live in a graveyard, isn't that scary? And to me, it's not, because it's everybody I know, and it's haunted in a blessed way. It's haunted in a sacred space. It's like a temple to me. It's like I can just go outside and be with my thoughts and know that they're spiritually there with me, and feel as I feel, and I have somewhere to go and talk to them and cry and come back in, like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it any better than that, to people who just don't get it. And see, I'm kind of annoyed with my lawyer because he's just really short with me. I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or he's a man and he's just genuinely been pissed me off, but he just doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it. And I've texted him multiple times, all kinds of weird shit happening, okay? The last thing my uncle said to me was he was recording me, okay? That's how creepy this is getting, okay? Not only that, I'm gonna make a film and go record all this stuff, okay? But I found little metal brackets hanging in front of the kitchen window up at the top of the hill, where there was like, you could hang hunting cameras. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe my dad left that, right? Because my dad had hunting cameras, but I was like, when I came here, I went through all around this place, never saw that. And I was like, maybe and you think, well, maybe you could miss it, right? You try to rationalize it, and then you ignore it. And then you hear like a ATV slowly going through behind the trees through the field, right? And you finally get so tired of it because you feel like you're being watched, okay? You feel it, okay? And one day I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna go through the woods. And I found a trail, okay? And it's a dirt mud trail, and if you follow the trail, it goes right in front of my bedroom window right here. And if you look down through the field, there's an opening to where you can have direct eye contact through my bedroom window, which creeped me out on a level, and see, that was when I had Cleo, and Cleo had gotten loose, and I would have never found it if it wasn't for her, because I was just not interested in going out in the woods. But every time I was outside, I would hear this slow driving, and I never see the neighbors on side. Eventually I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go find out what the hell is going on. And I walked all the way through the woods, and I got lost, okay? And I said, I'm just gonna keep going straight no matter what, okay? I'm gonna keep going this way. And I eventually came to the neighbors, okay? And it was a huge, massive place, and I was like, holy sh. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm lost. And then I finally came through, and I found that path again. I was like, okay. And then I finally found my way back out and made it back to my house. After that, it creeped me out so bad. I was like, are both of my neighbors spying on me? Does my uncle know both my neighbors? And to the answer to that question, absolutely they have to, because this was the house they grew up in, right? So they absolutely have to know him. That's another thing is my aunt and uncle, I think that's what contributed a lot to my dad's health too, is because it was just relentless phone calls from my uncle, just making my dad feel shitty, like he was a bad person, like he stole something, or like he killed Grandma Ruby and all kinds of crazy shit. Like he that's what he does. Like that's what he's known for, is just being a gossiper. Is he loves it, he thrives on it. And that's how he manipulates people, is because he's a very social person. He works in a very public place. He meets a lot of powerful people. Not only that, his second job gives him access to a lot more people, which is even more scary, is because there's no way I could know everybody they know. And there's just too many creepy things that's happened, or I've run into him in lots of public accounts. He would bring neighbors from my childhood house to come meet me all of a sudden, like, and approach me right after my dad's death. Like, it was like he was trying to trigger me, okay, to have a mental breakdown. And then after my dad died, he kept relentlessly calling me all the time. I have just like literally almost 100 voicemails from him, just saying I'm disrespectful to my grandma about her health and all this stuff, when it wasn't me that said it. It was my aunt, okay? And I was exposing my aunt, okay, and her attacking me. He should really be mad at the source of that and not me. And that's one reason why I created YouTube, is because I feel like I get attacked, and because I don't feel like I get any type of justice for it, I have to record it. I have to be public because I don't feel safe. I don't feel, and to some people, it might sound crazy. And it sounds crazy until things start actually happening in your life and you see it and then you live it, and then it becomes, and see, that's another thing too, is after all the stuff they've put me through, just making me feel like a shitty person, making me feel like some kind of criminal for living here, making me feel like I don't deserve it, making me feel like, and my uncle even told me, don't call me your uncle anymore. I don't want to be associated with you. I don't want to know you. I don't want to, this and that. And it's like, okay, because you're bitter and angry because of me living here, like, that's all it took. So you never really did care. You never did have any feelings, even though you try to pretend you did. You confirm that you never did. You care, I kind of always knew that just from how my aunt and uncle treat me. That's another thing I'm going to go into about this video. I know it's going to be probably an hour-long vlog I'm going to have to edit, but growing up my whole life, my family was so weird, okay? There were so many weird things going on. I don't even know everything going on, okay? There's so many dramatic, weird things. My life is like a literal MTV show, guys. You think I'm being dramatic, and you think I'm, fantastic, mythical, fantastilizing it, or whatever you want to call it, like exaggerating. But really, when it's your life, you're gonna start to understand why I am the way I am, and why I sound the way I sound, and why I act the way I act. Is because growing up, okay, every Christmas, it was just weird. It was always weird here. My aunt always acted weird to me. My grandma always loved my aunt and my two cousins and never showed any type really affection towards me, really. Ever. But then later on in life, when I came and met her before she passed, she hugged me, which was so weird. But the thing is, growing up, my dad would tell me the reason why my grandma was so close to my aunt and cousins is because they lost their dad, okay? And they really needed someone there. And that she always felt bad because she wasn't there for me when I needed her, okay? And somebody got, in that spot and, could potentially do a lot of damage or whatever. But I was like, okay. I told my dad, I was like, I finally feel like some kind of validation from my grandma that, that she did care about me. She did see me. She did value me. She did see that we were, blood, that we were part of the same thing, right? And so I was like, okay, I finally feel validated after all the struggles I've been through in life, everything I've been through with my dad, everything I've been through in life with everything, my mom, my brothers, school, people, like everything I've been through, all my struggles, it finally, like, it evened out, okay? The house everything leveled out, and I could finally start living my life and just live my life and not have to be subservient to anyone, right? But then now, being sued by my own family, it takes away that equalness, okay? So, you know, I may not have to get rid of the house or the graves, but I may have to sell off a portion of my property to them or give them what it's equally worth or whatever. I don't know. But it really just depends in court how it's going to go. There's really no... it just really depends. You know, you never know what the court's going to decide and what, you know... My hair is a mess. I don't know why I got these weird little baby hairs right here. And they just don't want to cooperate today. This feels good to talk about. Like, I feel like that's really kind of what I just needed, was to talk about this. And I haven't talked to anyone since my dad died. I mean, my dad's friend came over for the lawnmower, but that wasn't like a pleasant exchange with somebody. It was more like, what the are you talking about, lady? Like, why? I don't know. But see, and I asked her, I said, who else at the VFW is really interested in my life besides you? And she said who they were, and I was like, okay, so these people are enemies to me. These people are spying on me. These people have tabs on me in some type of way, or these people, I don't know, like, why would you send someone over here to just, like, start shit, okay, or, like, say shit that is cryptic to me, that is weird, like, why even bring it up? Not only that, but it's like, why does it matter what I'm doing with my money? It's not your money, it's mine, okay? Not only that, but I've had an income for years. I've lived on my own since I was 16. Okay, I've taken care of everyone my entire life, and everyone feels like, oh my God, like, what, she's not gonna survive, like, and it's like, I've survived on my own my whole life since I was a little kid. Like, it's insulting. It's just insulting, and just, it's almost like they treat me more like I have a mental disability. They treat me, you know, I may not be college smart or professor smart or scholar smart or whatever, but I have common sense. Like, I may talk Southern and say the wrong thing sometimes, but I understand what you're saying to me. And most time people look at me like I'm got a problem, a mental problem, or I don't know. But see, I don't know. I'm just socially awkward. Like, I've been in the house my entire life. My dad kept me sheltered away from everyone my entire life. All I ever knew was just one person in a room, okay? And I'm not used to, well, with some people too, so there's people that you'll meet that'll be friendly with you, right? When you interact with people, like at a store. There's some people that'll be like, yeah, I'll help you. This is what you need. Yeah, I'll help you do that. And then there's some people that say they're gonna help you, and they use it as a way to hurt you in some type of way, okay? So they kind of throw out word salad, okay? They kind of throw out a various amount of words to me, thinking that they're smarter than me, that they won't know that they're insulting me right to my face, and that I won't pick up on it because I'm just, you know, a young dropout that's stupid and incapable of understanding things, is how they treat me, right? And I was in a really bad relationship for like almost 10 years where I was constantly told that all the time, that my brain didn't work and that I, you know, forgot things, and, you know, I had, you know, temper problem, whatever. But I'm not, you know, I'm not, I don't have a mental disability, okay? I suffer with clinical depression, I go through manic episodes, especially if I'm going through a lot of stress, where I just don't want to interact with people because I know I'm so sensitive. If they say something to me that I know is not appropriate, I may just unleash hell. Don't want to, but it just may happen because you think about the last sequence of my life. Okay, I was babysitting a little autistic boy named Daniel. Okay, I was, babysitting. I babysitted so many kids growing up, and see, the reason why I was so connected to him is because he was a lot like my Uncle Junior, who had cerebral palsy. Okay, and I spent a lot of time with him. He was very dependent on me. He clutched to me all the time. He was, you had to always like watch him and stuff like that. But when he passed away, it just, I don't know, it really just hurt. And I don't know, like, he was just a sweet kid. He was always just the sweetest little kid you could think of. He just and he loved trucks, he loved tools and all this stuff. He was just a manly man, okay? And after I went through that, like, I don't know, like, something happened when he passed. I was like, how could a little kid pass away? Like, I guess that's when I started to think, I don't know, I don't want to say I had doubts about God, but I was also going through something else at that time that was really traumatic, and I was in a really bad situation, being abused, being hit, being, just lots of different stuff. And it was just a bad situation all the way around. Everywhere I looked, all the way around, the people involved in my life, everything, every single thing in my life had to change, okay? I had to get away from everyone and just work on myself, heal myself, because I was so hurt and in pain that I had to retreat and just heal myself, okay? And work on, self-love and feeling worthy, healing some deep wounds from my childhood that manifested itself in my adulthood through different scenarios, toxic relationships, abusive relationships, feeling like you're not worth anything, feeling like you're tainted, feeling like nobody cares about you, nobody wants you to live, nobody wants you to carry on, like, and so it didn't matter, okay? Life didn't matter, it had no purpose, it had no meaning, okay? And then my grandma died, then my uncle died, and then a year later my dad died, all in a sequence of 3 years, okay? And when it's just like a shock, I think it's just a shock, mostly, because one, I would have never thought my uncle was going through some of the stuff he was going through. When I found out about a lot of stuff he did and was doing, and how bad his health was, I was just shocked. I would have never believed the things he was doing in secret and how bad it had gotten, and it just shocked me. And then when he passed at such a young age, it just didn't seem real. And then when my dad died, I remember, even sometimes, even to this day, like, I wake up and I think it's all a dream, like my dad didn't really die, and that I woke up in that back room and he's still here and it was just a bad dream. And then I have to remember again that it was all real. It did happen, and it just happened so quick. He just didn't have time to process it all. So then I got a call a couple days ago from this person I was in a bad relationship with and was abused in for many years, FaceTiming me. So I assumed it was an emergency about the animals he took or whatever, and he showed me my cat dead. dying and dead. Why his brother was in the background calling me a bitch the whole time. Yeah, I had to block that number, and that traumatized me too. I just think they're sick individuals. I don't want nothing to do with them. Honestly, I think, one day they're gonna pay the piper. One day they're gonna get hit with karma, and it's gonna be in a really big way for doing all the evil things they do to people. And I hope God is swift and severe for them, because it's sick what they do. And then just emotionally keep using the animals that I had to try to hurt me in some way, or emotionally hurt me in some way. And I keep blocking them, and they just keep coming at it of a different account, or I don't know. It's like I want to escape everything and just try to live somewhat of a happy life and peaceful life. And right now I'm just in so much pain and hurting, and I just need to heal and breathe and just try to be calm, because right now if someone came at me in the wrong way, I know I would react in a really big, massive way that could alter things. Okay, so if someone came over to my house, start talking about my dad like they know them, okay? If anyone should know my dad, it should be me, okay? I love when people try to tell me who my dad is and they've only known them as a friend, but they didn't live with them. They didn't see them, all sides of them, okay? They didn't see them in a way that I see them, okay? So, people want to believe whatever they want to believe, okay? People are going to always, there's two types of people, okay? They're going to, no matter what in the world, people want to paint a story about you because their life is so boring. You live in a small town, they ain't got nothing going on. They like to pick a person who's either got some kind of drama going on, some kind of big thing going on with the family, death, whatever, and they pick that person. And they decide whether it's a villain or a hero, okay? And it doesn't matter what you really are. People are going to paint you in that light based on what they want for their life, okay? So, for example, if my neighbor doesn't like me, she's going to go run her mouth and tell a bunch of people that I'm this evil, horrible person, even though I may not be, because she had a bad experience with me, because she decided to come over here and, yap her mouth at me, and then found out that she was barking up the wrong tree, okay? See, that's another thing with me is like I said, I demand a certain level of respect when you talk to me. My dad gave up his life for this country. He wasn't able to be a father. He wasn't able to be a husband. He wasn't able to be a functioning person because the military turned him into a brain dead killing machine, okay? And how he coped with that is alcohol, okay? And whether people want to acknowledge that or say whatever they want to say about it, it's true, okay? And there's going to be a lot of his drinking buddies that don't like that opinion. But like I said before, if anyone knows my dad, it's going to be me, okay? And I know all sides of my dad, not just what portion of it he wanted to play for whoever was watching, okay? I'm going to open up way more about my dad and just different things he would do. The VFW. I'm going to go way into detail about that. I'm probably going to do some more podcast episodes. But I just want to get on here and just talk about everything, catch up for as long as I've been gone. Because like I said, I've been going through a lot of shit, okay?